Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Yes, I was lost right there. We're going to turn our focus now on the economy and recall that only yesterday the president finally appended his signature to that almighty document called the budget, which means that it is now law. But many people have lost their jobs since last year, and a few who have jobs have had to accept some kind of pay cut. Some on half pay, and some of them don't even get to see their salaries. And to make matters worse, the government of the day seems not to have any plan for steering Nigeria out of its conundrum.
Mind the phrase, seem not.
Sorry?
I said, mind the phrase, seem not.
So, the budget being signed and the economy being where it is, where does it take us? That is the question that we're going to ask the economists who are in the studio with us this morning. And it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Gabriel Idahosa.
Thank you.
An economist. Mr. Ayodeji Onigbogi, a development finance expert, as well as Mr. Adebayo Durodola, an economist.
Good morning.
Now let me begin with Mr. Idahosa. So the budget has been signed. What does that mean for us? I mean, this is May, and the first 4 months of the year, we had economists in here who gave the impression that nothing could really happen until the budget was signed. So it's finally been signed. What next?
What next is how you implement it. And implement it means the capital part of the budget, the 30%. Mm-hmm. The 70% of the budget for recurrent has been spent from day one, from 1st of January. So that
process had already begun.
Yes, it's not news. It doesn't change anything.
Okay. So the capital is the main focus.
The 30% is what will change anything. Okay. And how and what changes we will see depend on how fast they implement the 30%. Mm-hmm. So if we get the 30% implemented very quickly, trying to spend in 7 months what you were to spend in 12 months, and implement it as promised for the projects that were promised, then you can see some results. You probably see the number of workers, the 500,000 people they want to hire for teaching, the young people they want to employ that are in the budget. We expect those jobs to be done. We expect contractors who are owed to be paid, then they can also pay their workers, and then perhaps reabsorb some people that have lost their jobs. Then we probably begin to see some infrastructure, some roads, airports starting. Yeah. So the real question is, how fast can implementation take place?
Talking about infrastructure development, Mr. Nigbogi, we understand that about 200 billion was budgeted for roads. How fast do we see that rolling out? Or how far do we expect to see that rolling out?
That will commence almost immediately. But we should have something at the back of our mind. What federal government owes contractor is even running to trillions currently. So we need to be mindful that if I am Julius Berger, before I move to sites, I will first demand what I'm being owed. So naturally, what government has to do now will be to give them a guarantee, like a guarantee. Because if I'm being owed 100 naira and you still expect me to give you goods worth 50 naira, I'll tell you that, well, out of the 100 naira, first pay like 50 naira. That'll be the normal thing. So naturally, in as much as government wants to do new roads, the issue of the backlog will affect because there's an understanding, and it's only when federal government, because I cannot say the ministry, it's only when the federal government has a way probably to raise bond to do something that can guarantee the payment of what they initially owe. That's when I know that the 200 billion they're planning for infrastructure development can be a reality.
You know, this infrastructure, budget just signed. Before all of this, and before the implementation, the state of the economy is what a lot of people will be looking at. Foreign direct investments, I mean, has seemingly dropped. I like using that word seemingly, or seems to have dropped, because there are those in government who say it's not true. So what, in your opinion, what would you say is the state of the economy?
Well,
even before the budget signed, before we now say, okay, now that it's been signed, what do we look forward to?
I'll start from you making it looking contentious, like as if foreign direct investment has not actually dropped.
Has it?
The National Bureau of Statistics some few days ago released capital flow report, capital importation report, which showed that we've actually, in the first quarter of 2016, is the lowest we've had in terms of capital flow into any segment of the Nigerian economy, divided into FDI, foreign portfolio investment, and all other segments in the last 18 to 19 quarters. Now, we used to have in about, immediately after, when Sanusi came to power, he implemented a strategy that ensured that we have foreign portfolio investment.
When Sanusi came to power.
Sorry, please. As the
head of the central bank.
Head of central bank, sorry, please. As the central bank governor, one of the methods he implemented to stabilize the naira was to allow easy trade of our currency. The real strategy was really to at least encouraging flow into the currency rather than us bleeding from importation continuously without corresponding inflow, because we're not producing anything. We're not exporting anything out. So our source of foreign currency included getting money to be trading our assets locally. We've dropped from as high as $13-point-something billion in stock of foreign portfolio investment in the country to as low as less than $2 billion right now. Many of those, as Mr. Wedaoza noted earlier, was basically driven by election fear and all of that. But right now, we've complicated the matter with our non-clear position on the exchange rate. Nobody understands exactly what we want, where we want to go and how we want to go about our exchange rate situation right now. And so there is no issue of seemingly. We are hemorrhaging day by day in terms of economic activities in this country right now. And basic statistics continue to show that we are losing jobs. Banks are continuously saying that on the list, First Bank is being listed to be planning to let go of over 1,000 workers. If you look at the first quarter result of all the banks, which is the biggest indicator of where the direction of the economy is, because the bank are the one who provide the liquidity that flows into your system through the way they are. So all of the banks in the first quarter have lost their earnings by as high as like 2 to 3% year on year. And this has been going on. Many of them are still planning to at least find a way to get themselves out of this conundrum. Again, look at the interbank rate. The interbank rate have stayed at one of their lowest in the last 3 to 4 months. In fact, the whole of this year, less than 2, 3, 4%. Basically, because the bank can't find anything to do with liquidity in their hand. It is an indicator of the fact that sectors who require funds are eroding gradually. The CBN produces something they call Purchasing Manager Index every month. The Purchasing Manager Index is an indicator of what manufacturing sector is doing. Are purchasing managers spending money in lieu of production? That's what the index tells us. For the first time, the index has crossed below 50. 50 is the point where you say at least things are just stable. Nobody is doing anything more than what they do. But right now we are below. And the biggest hit is in employment, new manufacturing, and new orders. So all of this connects directly to the fact that jobs are being lost. Manufacturing sector is already in recession for the past 2 or 3 quarters. And things are really, really nosediving.
Okay.
So that's, in terms of states, that's where we are.
We're talking about the economy, and I think our favorite words have been diversify the economy. So it is no longer oil-based, mono economy, crude oil. At this point, can you say that you see any signs of any diversification?
Well, every government, even as far back as the First Republic and Second Republic have said about
The mouth.
diversifying. So when you want to see if diversification is going to happen, is the actions that are taken and in where they are being taken. If you want to diversify, first of all, for this government, nothing has been done. It is yesterday the budget was approved, and we are now hoping that they will be able to put physical expression, action, to whatever has been said since the government was elected. Now, whether they are going to diversify in the real sense of it is what they do. It's not what you say. Everybody can say, I want to diversify the economy, and then you go and continue to do what you are doing. So, and if you want to diversify, how do you want to diversify? The government can diversify by enabling various sectors. If I want to enable tourism, if I want to enable the creative industry, if I want to enable the ICT industry, what do I do? Because it's accepted that government cannot do business in any profitable manner, not just in Nigeria, most countries. So the diversification effort has to be translated into enabling actions in terms of financial support, in terms of regulatory changes, policies, and then for this government, we need to see a significant sense of urgency. Because if you feel that, well, it doesn't matter whether I do it in 10 months' time or now, then you are not going to diversify the economy. You are just going to keep saying, we will diversify the economy. We are going to go to conferences, hold meetings, and say, we will diversify the economy. The creative industry wants you to do something, you haven't done it. Our tourist locations, you haven't done anything to show that you want to open up the tourist industry. Our ICT industry, very little regulatory changes you need to make outsourcing a very significant business in this country. You haven't done it. You have not changed the regulations that allow any investor, local or foreign, to build a railway line with its own resources from Lagos to any point in this country that I find profitable.
Did we not hear that the Chinese were coming to do it?
They are coming to do it with governments. You have not passed a regulation that say that if you have money, you can come to Nigeria and build a rail line from here to Onitsha, because I find that it is profitable to build a rail line from here to Onitsha. Just like today I can get a license and run a telecom company in any part of the country where I find it profitable. And it doesn't take 2 months to pass that kind of legislation that enable an investor, local or foreign, to come to this country, find any 2 locations which he finds profitable, to build a rail track. And I can build a rail track with my own money and know that once I have a rail track from here to Onitsha, there are going to be a lot of rail companies that are going to bring their wagons and their locomotive engines and run on the track. I don't need to have the wagons myself. And all I need is government to say, here's the law. Come and get a license and build the rail line. It doesn't take 9 months from May last year to this time to pass that kind of
law.
Are foreign investors not wary of our policies?
No, being wary is now the action. If I want to do something and I do it, I would be imagining whether you will do it or not. But are you going to make a policy that will enable me come to build a rail track or to build a factory that produces spare parts for an industry like take a hangar for airlines? It is not what you say. It's not that I want to support foreign investors. That's not what you say.
Mr. Imagine that I'm a foreign investor. I come into Nigeria and I build this rail that you're talking about. When I came in, I got my